Hello Simmers, it is Melly, and today I am building a 2000s inspired suburban home. Well, I'm not going to put an exact year on it, I'm going to keep calling it a 2000s home, but I don't know how accurate that really is. But the main thing with this build I was trying to go for is I really wanted this lived-in suburban home feeling. So I actually do this layout quite quickly because there's been an interesting thing about this build, and that is I've already made it before. So, a few years ago, back in 2022, I made a build on Welcome to Bloxburg, which is a Roblox game inspired by The Sims. Now it's really become its own thing, but that's what I originally started as, and that's what really got me into building. When it comes to The Sims, I am very new to the community. And not only to the community, but the game itself. I've only been playing since 2024. I believe I joined back in January 2024. And I honestly fell in love with the game the first time I played it, even though I was just playing with the base game, which I think we all know how the community feels about the base game for The Sims 4, which it's definitely been getting better. I joined at the time when they were giving away a free pack, which I think they gave away 2 free things, the backyard stuff and the plants, which is the only reason why I own those 2 things. But so over here I don't know if backyard stuff's so free, but I'm over here just roofing the house, and I really struggled with this, just like I struggled with it a few years ago when I was making it in Bloxburg. When I was making it in Bloxburg, at least at the time I was playing, there was no hollow roofs. I'm not sure if they still have that issue today, but I didn't even bother doing a hollow roof with The Sims 4. I'm not that talented. So I just made it on the roof to try giving it this I don't know, I just wanted it to look like an attic or a partial upstairs. So, and I think I did achieve that pretty well. And I was just trying to fill in holes and stuff with the roof, which is pretty funny because when I went in to go take pictures for my Tumblr, I noticed there was a lot of holes in the roof when I was doing it. I was looking through, I don't know what happened, if I actually deleted the platform piece that goes under the roof. I'm guessing I did, but I had to go in and fix all that. So now this is up on my EA account now at Mellydoll, which is right here. And I'm finally turning my cheats now because I don't really keep my cheats on when I'm just building normally. I kind of forget to. It's only one time actually doing the decorating part that I think about turning on my cheats. So I'm adding in this brick texture over here, which my goal was to try keeping this as similar to my Bloxburg build as possible. But I did go make some changes just so it looks a bit nicer and works with The Sims 4, because Bloxburg, I can have everything as close as I want together because I don't have to worry about my Sims not being able to walk through things. Oh yeah, here's the thing I just want to point out. I'm so upset that the stairs and this brick over here don't match. I was trying so hard. I even thought about doing an entirely different pattern right here, but I really just wanted the brick floor and the pattern just didn't match. I was contemplating looking for another mod to fix that, which over here am using CC windows. They look like base game windows because it is the base game mesh, but with extra recolorings. All the mods and CC I'm using for this build, they're linked down below. So you can find all of those on my Tumblr once you copy and paste it. If we'd like to in the future, I can just always put them in the comments or directly in my description. Although the list does tend to be pretty long. I got these garage doors over here. I believe these were from Scotty Yachty. So I put in the garage doors and I'm adding this path over here. We love our little fake Sims garage. I did see when I was scrolling through that someone did make a mod to have a working garage in The Sims 4, so I'm definitely going to check that out someday. I'm adding a porch to the backyard and stuff. It is a bit smaller than the porch I originally had, but I didn't want to bother with changing the roof This door over here comes from the London exterior CC set. So I used that because I really wanted this bright red door that I had on the original house. So I was just trying to replicate everything as best I can. Although that door was a rectangular door, not a round one, I felt like it was fine. I had these windows, I believe those are from the same set. Yes, that's right. They are from the London exterior. And I add the fence from backyard stuff. Again, I don't recommend buying backyard stuff, honestly. I can't remember if it's free or not. I'll put it over here if it's free or not, but I remember when I joined, I got it for free, and I think it'll be criminal if it's not free, because there is nothing in that. So I'm doing a bit of landscaping again here, adding some trees. I didn't want to overpopulate the trees, but I think I did. I'm just like trying my best to like make the landscaping look nice and stuff. In my original build, I had like this tall light in the bushes, but I decided just to go with a short one because I couldn't find a tall one. Then I add some lights to the rest of the house and some more trees. And I'm just trying to make this look pretty. So now I'm adjusting the landscaping from the mess I made earlier. And there we go, adding some flowers. And I keep cross-referencing on my phone to build because if I reference between my laptop, then my screen recorder shuts off, which really sucks. Again, I did make some changes to this. Like, in the original build, I only had one van in it, but I decided to add 2 cars because I was really going for this middle class thing. This was also a double door garage in my original build because I used 2 small garage doors, but I decided to just go with one to make my life a bit more simple. It's not like my Sims are using anyways. And finally, I start the interior. So, I wanted this wood flooring. I was really on the fence if I wanted to change this to carpet or not because carpet was so popular because carpet was just so popular in the late 90s and stuff, and it was starting to die out in the 2000s though, so I felt like that could be justified. Like, I'm thinking of this realistic house, and realistically, people do make renovations to their home over time, but I still felt like it would be right for it to have a lot of 90s aspects to it because that's like how the average middle class home is. You can't renovate your home every year to fit the trends. So I really abused the nostalgia living set in this. So I think everyone owns nostalgia living. Anyone who downloads CC for their builds, you guys probably have nostalgia living because it's really good. It is one of the best CCs that I own. I actually found it from Mundo Sims. So, which I also really recommend that website for Sims 4 CC. Nothing's behind a paywall. I don't believe that Mundo Sims supports any creators who put their stuff behind paywall, at least from what I've seen, because that website, it's like my little shopping trip every time I go on it. So I'm doing the dining room over here. It's very brown, and in my original build, see right here I have these green walls, and I'm not sure where I got that from, but I believe I got that from my childhood home because we had a beige and green combination, and it was like this really weird green that sadly I couldn't get it in The Sims 4, so I ended up going with this purple color instead because I felt like it still emulated the same energy. And then add some curtains over here, and then I just want to clutter this wall like in my original. Of course, this one's much more cluttered, but that's like what happens when you have infinite money. And also, everything in The Sims 4 is actually cheaper than to build in Bloxburg. It's funny, when I built this in Bloxburg, I believe it costed me $325k, and what I did in The Sims 4, it was $183. So I think a lot of it that's because of like debug and stuff, and also because I have to pay a ton of money for wallpaper. So I put in my fireplace over here, and I'm really working on this living room. This living room is actually one of my favorite pieces of the build. I used the living room for a cozy family CC by 6 a.m. Yes, I believe that's who it's by. But yeah, I'm right. So, and then I add some nostalgia living pieces. I did go for more modern TV because again, this is 2000s, not literally the 90s. So there's a bit more of a modern TV. Not a massive flat screen. Let's pretend it's not even a fully flat screen, like it's still got a little bump in the back. But it's like pretty average TV. Middle class home. Maybe the dad went to go pick it up from Costco. And I'm really just trying to clutter this living room and find out how do I make this look lived in. Because in the original build that I made, I didn't really add a ton of clutter to it. Honestly, my goal in that build was still to make it look lived in, which I think I did well with the children's rooms. But with the rest of the house, like, I had like a little toy kitchen set, but in the Sims 4 I didn't have that, so I kind of try to make up for it with the living room. I also had this half bathroom situation in my original build, and the kitchen I really struggled with because of this half bath situation. I thought about moving the door over here, but I was looking at it, I'm like, no, I want the door right here. So I played around the staircases and decided it's not too important that I have the staircase going straight up. So I did decide to make the staircase have a bit of bent into it so that I can shrink the hallway area. When I built this, I did have the laundry room in there, but I do not own laundry day, so, and I really don't want to, because I don't want to have my Sims doing more chores. I can barely get them to complete their aspirations. So yeah, I was really struggling trying to figure out how to do this kitchen, and that's when I realized that I need to push everything back once again, because the problem was that my couch, it stuck out too far because I wanted to make the living room a bit bigger so my Sims can get to everything while it's still cluttered. So that ended up taking up kitchen space, but I did fix that. I was playing around with these cabinets over here. These cabinets are actually, there was a creator who remade, I believe it's a kitchen from the Making Magic DLC from The Sims 1, the original Sims game, which I was not alive when that came out, so I never played it. But I do want to. It looks really fun, even if it's not a whole lot in there, but it's probably still more than the Sims 4 base game. Who knows? But I might like some cabinets. If you don't want to download the CC, because it was a bit difficult to download, then you can honestly just go with the base game cabinets that match the ones that I use for the counters, and it'll still look very good. I just want to really add that Tudor aspect to the home, because Tudor, that was a trend. So I'm cluttering the fridge to add some of the decorations. On the fridge that I made for Bloxburg, I couldn't add any clutter to the door, so I added them to the side of the fridge. But this time I had that opportunity, which I have not play tested this build yet, because I honestly don't plan to really play in this build, but I do believe that the fridge decorations should work. They should work fine. And then from All Around Sims, or All Around the Sims, something like that, I got these kitchen clutter items, these like boxes of cereal, this coffee box, the toaster, and I thought that all looked really cool, so I added those in. And I don't know if that creator still makes stuff today, but hopefully they do, because I really liked all the stuff on their website. Their website did look a bit old, but I've actually learned that a lot of French websites, for some reason, which I don't mean anything against the French. I take French class, and we go on a lot of French websites. Maybe just because they're educational websites, but who knows? It doesn't care about the website. The CC was good, so I got it. I'm working on the bathroom over here. Most basic bathroom ever. The one I did in Bloxburg, it was literally 2 tiles big, but I knew if I did that, my Sims would be screaming, because I've tried making a 2-tile bathroom before, and if I add anything other than a toilet, my Sims will scream. So over here, I'm kind of just like adding a couple more things to the bathroom to clutter it a bit, and then I add this little seating area, as you can see right here in the original build. So I put in 2 different mixed match chairs. Maybe these are the chairs that the husband just doesn't want to throw out, because he spent money on them back in 1984. So I'm adding those chairs there. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the table. I got rid of that little table between the chairs and I just added a table like that. I threw some flowers on it. I really wanted to decorate that cabinet, but I couldn't figure out how to get everything I wanted in there. So I just settled putting some picture frames, which, if I'm correct, you can add pictures from the game into those frames, which I really have to try that out one day. So I'm starting off with the bedrooms over here, kind of. I believe I actually do the garage first. No, I actually do the master bedroom first. So I'm making the hallway over here, which I did have some clutter when I did this in Bloxburg. So I'm trying to recreate that clutter setup while still not trying to make it look too perfect. But I felt like because this is next to the parents' room, it was okay for it to look a bit cleaner. I really wanted this specific light, so, which I can't say it on camera, but yeah, that's, I don't know what the actual name for it is, but that's what everyone calls them. And oh my gosh, these were everywhere, and I see them in every home that was built in the late 90s to 2000s that I've been in, which there's a lot in my area because I live in a newly developed area. My house isn't, but a lot of the other houses I visited, they all have those lights everywhere, and I can't resist just pointing it out every time I go over there. So, got a bit sidetracked, but I had the master bedroom pretty boring in my original build, so I did want to add a bit more clutter, a bit more personality to it, but I didn't want to like overdo it really. So I'm adding some more clutter from Nostalgia Living. I originally had a couch at the end of the bed, but because this room is so big, I decided to put it on the side instead. I'm using these dressers, and I kind of compiled my own dresser using this stuff from high school years. And I adjusted the window to put in the middle. It didn't really matter where that window went because I was playing around with it in my original build anyways. So I'm just trying to like clutter it a little bit, not too much, because I really never enjoy making master bedrooms a lot because it just feels a bit boring. Because with the kids, maybe it's because I'm still young, but with the kids' rooms and stuff, I can add like a lot of personality into it and think about it a lot. But with a parent's room, I'm kind of just like, yeah, they sleep in here. So in my original build, I also had like a little glass thing over here, which I filmed this after The Sims 4 made the July 1st update. So this was all filmed before we had those glass walls, which that's honestly so cool. We finally have glass walls now, which will definitely make making greenhouses a bit easier. And we won't have to use like those dollhouse window frames to, if we want to do like 24-hour unpause challenges or just any observation challenge. So it makes our little sociology and psychology experiments a bit easier. So I'm just finishing up this batter. If you see behind the toilet, that's the wallpaper I'm talking about from the Making Magic. This office was actually one of my favorite rooms, so it does stand out from the rest of the house. I was kind of thinking of this like the wife's office maybe. Like she has her little office space over here. She can do whatever the hell she wants with it. So I had some books, I made the walls blue. So it's a bit different, this room. And even the carpet's gray around the rest of the house. Like the most I'll go is this dark gray, but everything has this warm tint to it. You know what's funny? A lot of the houses that you see from the 2000s, the only reason they have this warm tint and yellowed walls, it's not just because of the camera quality, but it's also because of all the tobacco. So you can almost think that in this room, maybe no one has ever smoked in here, and maybe that's why it looks so clean. But you know, I'll leave the storytelling to you guys for this home. I'm working on the garage. I have this garage CC over here. It's like all these garage clutter items. I thought this was honestly really cool. I might actually keep this in my permanent mods folder because every time I do builds, I usually put all my new CC into a separate folder, because when you have too much CC in the game, one, it takes up so much storage, and two, it really runs up your RAM. So I didn't want to have like too much. I don't like to have too much, and then my game is super laggy, and it makes everything insufferable, and then I'm insufferable, and I don't want to play. So I usually keep my mods out of the folder if I'm not using them. So whenever I do base game builds, that's why it will always be so fast, those videos, because I don't have to wait for lag or buffering or worry about saving 100 times. Right there, even I was just saving. So every time you see it pause for a second, that's either me looking for stuff or saving. So over here, I'm doing the kids' bedroom, which in the Bloxburg one right over here, it's a whole lot more simple, but I have these car beds that are base game, and I was like, that's so cool. So I had to. I believe this car bed comes from SYB's Generations, which is the kids part. I believe so. You have to check that, but it really doesn't matter because every mod I use in this build, I have it linked because I want to make sure that everyone has access to the builds I'm making. So I hate like gatekeeping mods and then having it up on gallery. It also feels useless to me having mods on having modded builds on gallery and then not putting the mods used anywhere. But I digress. So I'm trying to make this really look like a kid's room. I'm getting a lot of toys and stuff. I have that little carpet over there, which I never had a carpet like that in my house, but it was at my dentist office, I remember when I was little. So I had some little decals on the wall, and then I throw down some toys. Because the kids' room, of course there's be toys. I throw some action figures, all the good stuff. I tossed some clutter on top of the dresser over here. You know, I want to make all these rooms, like, when I say lived in, I want them to literally be lived in, not messy. Because there's, like, a huge difference between, like, a room being super messy and then just being lived in. So in all the rooms, you're gonna see, like, maybe there'll be a pile of clothes on the floor, but for the most part, they're all, like, they're still neat, just, like, cluttered. So it looks natural. So over here, I'm adding in my TV set and dresser, and I'm trying to figure out how to use these pillows over here. I did figure out how to move stuff up and down while making this build, but I didn't figure out how to rotate things if that's possible. I don't know if you need tool mod for that, honestly, but I'm adding my desk and stuff, and I'm mostly still keeping this room consistent with how I originally made it, but there were some limitations. When I originally made this room, I had a whole lot of leopard print on it and stuff, and I made it look like a teen girl's paradise. But this time I was going around, I'm kind of thinking more of a preteen maybe, like someone still trying to like grow up and stuff. So hence like the posters. I had like these alt posters, which I don't believe I put in my Tumblr, but I'm gonna put them right up here. Alright, so those are like the more alternative posters I had. I completely forgot I used those because they're in my default folder. But that was it for my pink bedroom. And I went over here and started working on the bathroom, which, funny thing about this bathroom is the toilet is in a separate room which I didn't know why I did that originally, but when I was thinking about it while building this one was, okay, this is a big family. The kids are gonna be fighting for the bathroom. So it kind of makes sense to be able to have like someone in the toilet and then someone being able to brush your teeth and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty nice addition. Kind of like a hotel bathroom, honestly. So maybe that's where I got the inspo from. Here I am like adding some clothes on the floor. So just to clutter a little bit. Maybe there's like the kids toss their clothes on the floor instead of putting them in the laundry. I used to drive my mother crazy doing that when I was little. Over here I'm using the basement clutter items for my attic. So I even put a little Christmas tree up here. And I kind of did that because I was thinking like, oh, like it's an attic, they're gonna store the Christmas decorations. I believe I have other holiday decorations in there too, but no one's paying that much attention. I just threw in the tree. So I was making some changes and stuff, trying to figure out how I like this room to look. But I didn't put too much attention to the attic because I really wanted to focus my attention to the bedrooms. And my original, this room was a joke, so I didn't have a lot to go off of. I made a pool table in Bloxburg, but I didn't want to look for pool tables CC that I couldn't even use. So this texture on the floor. It's not even carpet. I think it's like cork or something. So I added some like instruments. Made her like storing things up there because now the kids are music prodigies. Added TVs and chairs. And honestly, from here on out, this build is done.